Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Doink Weekly, the 7th of its kind. My name is Psycho, and alongside me is a very special figure who is making up for our ill co-caster in Solar tonight. Someone who's been behind the scenes working his way around pretty much all that the Rocket League scene has to offer as a player, as a caster, and as a broadcaster of late. He was actually producing the last Doink Weekly himself. Potter, how are you doing this evening?
I'm having a great evening. It's great to be here on a little bit of role reversal. Normally, I'm sitting here doing what Disinroched is doing in the background, whilst you and some other waffler is here. But no, I'm here. I'm in the booth. I'm alongside you of all people, and we've got some more amazing high-level Rocket League on the show for us tonight.
Absolutely so. And of all people, I imagine there was some level of disgust in saying that, Potter, but nonetheless, I think it's appropriate we start talking about what we got going on this evening. It's the standard single elimination best of 3 bracket through to the finals, which are played out as a best of 5, and €150 on the line for our victor, the sole prize winner of this evening. And we've already made our way deep into the semi-finals, of which, as I said, is going to be played out as a best of 3. We have the 2 teams in All-Stars and Ascence, who we're going to touch on very briefly in this broadcast before we get our action underway. The team of All-Stars is a 2/3 Polish lineup in Vesh, Keto, and Magma, a French player himself. And on the side of Ascence, I believe an all-Swedish lineup, which we've seen many times on this channel in particular. Meaty, Simoon, and Led. I think this is going to be a very closely fought affair.
It's always going to be a closely fought affair when we bring these types of players, these caliber of players into the same lobby up against each other, and we put them in 5 minutes on the clock ready for some amazing Rocket League. It's what we always love to see. It's what we always get here on the Doink broadcasts. I mean, today's going to be no different with these lineups.
Absolutely so, and I think it's about that sort of time where, even though we haven't particularly touched on the strengths of these 2 lineups, we sort of get into the prediction side of things as well. And just to give you a brief bit of background on how the teams have progressed so far today, the team in All-Stars in particular has gone on to beat the likes of Team Big G and Shaman Esports. And on the side of Ascence, they've actually run their way past Sanctuary, a previous winner, and Dunno Chief as well. So plenty of teams being beaten by the both of them today. And I was wondering, Potter, do you have any predictions on who's going to take this semi-final?
My prediction for this has got to be Ascence Esports. I know them from RSC. They've been in the Premier Division a lot over the past seasons. It's the only team I really know, and I think they can pull through up against this All-Stars roster. How about you, Psycho?
It's going to be a bit more tricky for me, actually, because All-Stars is not a team that I've ever watched play before. I've only seen their, Twitter interactions. That's all I know. That's all I know about them and their run today as well. So Ascence, I feel, is going to be the team I favour, just on the basis that they've had a lot of experience together as a squadron. And moving forwards, I think they can translate that into a win today.
Well, look no further. We're going to be here very soon with these teams. I believe they're all ready to get into this game. I mean, Psycho, have you got any final thoughts before we get into this game?
I don't think so, and I think it's only appropriate we give the teams the go signal to get their engines running tonight. All-Stars versus Ascence, and like we touched on, a best of 3 is a very short series length indeed, to be trying to work out your flaws potentially as a team, trying to navigate your opposition and how they might approach the play as well. So little time in this series to perform, and it's all about who can show up in this particular series.
Well, I believe we're going to have Ascence in the orange, All-Star team in the blue, as we do get that all-noticeable 5 minutes on the clock here, ready for game number 1 in this best of 3 series.
Absolutely, and initially we're going to have a little bit of possession spell in this orange side of the court. Simon's going to bump one up nicely to Meaty, who's going to reach out for the backboard here as Keto tips it back into his own defensive corner. Magma, plenty of boost in his tank. He's going to try and feed one in field as well, but a nice cutaway there by Simon.
Indeed, it was. It is the blue side, I would say, having the better opening chances so far, but as that shot goes on from Ledinho, it's saved away by Magma. A little bit of a potential testing of the goalkeeper, you would say, in actual football. Just that early shot on to see if that goalkeeper is ready. Any nerves, any slight little bit of not being correctly warmed up could go in. Keto, that shot saved away from Ledinho. It seems like it's all been flipped, and Ascence are now truly on top.
I have to agree with you at the moment as, well, we see All Stars just about break out of their own defense and try and connect the like of that crossfield pass as well. But the shot was just wide of the margin on that time of asking, as Vesh is going to try and continue pressure forwards to the corner. Maybe wrap one infield led with a lot of space here. Surely you have to think he's going to put this one away. But a last-ditch effort from Magma is going to see his team, well, in exactly the same spot they originally were.
What a save it was from Magma, you know. 1-0 if that save does not come out, but indeed it does offer the crossbar, but still Ascence well on top as Meaty drives it down that left-hand flank. Sajid needs to pick up the pieces and try and drop it further infield. Two players go for All Stars, none of them connect. Could be an opening for Ascence. It's a shot from Meaty. Keto somehow able to make that save, claiming that save medal and keeping the All Stars in this game was, despite no goals being scored.
No goals being scored just yet. All Stars, no shots to their name, and they're already being pounded in the defensive regions. And two pivotal saves have kept them in the running so far, as another testing shot, as you referenced, Potter, is going to come towards Magma. Lots of space in the air, darting for that reset, but another good touch from Meaty to see his way forward. Luckily, on this occasion, the keeper not tested by the offense to come.
All Stars maybe allowed a little bit of a breakthrough, but Ledinho cutting it out from midfield as Magma intercepts, looking for a potential corner. He drops it down to Vesh, and against all odds, it is the All-Star side who takes the first goal. What a play, what a pass from Magma down, but maybe the Ascence defense could have done better on this one.
Yeah, and All Stars have caught their opposition, a leading opposition in terms of the possession and the opportunities, a little off guard there, as Meaty was just simply not willing to throw himself up early on what was a difficult read from the corner. And All Stars, the one shot they've had in this game so far has been one that they've converted.
Seems like it was just the first shot on target all series from the All-Stars, and they're able to put it away. 6 shots to 1, and it is the team with the latter amount of shots who are in the lead currently. Is Meaty about to change this up, though, as Vesh does get the clear away? We see the 7th shot come on for the Ascent side, but still nothing coming through for them.
Absolutely nothing, and it's got to be heartbreaking for Ascent to have worked very hard in the opening minutes to drive the tempo in their direction, but simply no goals to result from it. As Led is going to throw this one over to the left-hand side. Simon's going to chase this one down and gets a fortuitous dunk as well. A bump on the back lines. He's going to try to open up a little bit of space to drive towards. Keto now. Beaten to the punch there by Simon. Not too much boost in the tank, but he's going to get a high touch and almost dink it over Magma.
Meaty still to keep up the offensive for Ascence. It literally was just that one breakaway for All Stars, which is giving them all the riches so far. Meaty tried to drop it down to Sajmoon. Ledinho there to go up for it is denied by Vesh, as the shot from Sajmoon finally breaks the duck for Ascence as they tie up this series 1-1.
Finally, they've been rewarded for their efforts. A wonderful little angle there from Simon and Magma at the front post. Simply couldn't scarp it across his own back net in time. Something that I believe All Stars have to be only applauded for so far is how well they've held themselves together at the back. It seems that all of the opportunities Ascence have had have been dealt with almost comfortably against all odds. As an infield ball is going to work its way to Simon, and well, it's just as I was talking about their comfortability, it's come falling apart there.
Well, when you wait a while for one burst, 2 come at once, as Ascence have 2 goals in the space of pretty much 5 seconds. All Stars, from when you think they're able to scarf away with a quick smash and grab win, it all comes crashing down, like you say, and still the offense coming through. It could be a third. Ledinho off of the crossbar. All Stars, they need to regroup, they need to regain, they need to bounce back to find a goal and force an overtime.
They certainly do, and there's only 50 seconds left to do it. A difficult task it must be for a team that's only had 1 shot altogether in this game, albeit one that they converted. As Magma in the corner is going to force a 50 against Meaty there. Keto's going to try and follow this up with a glancing double touch. Magma and Keto once again working in unison. This one might find the back of the net. And All Stars, as they work so hard to really scarper down the side of the field in unison, they've been punished for that little overextension.
30 seconds remain for this All-Star side should they want to come back into this game, try and get anything from it. But Ascence well and truly in the driving seat. All the shots, still only the one shot to the one goal for All-Stars. They need to find something to get this offense going. They can't keep sitting and hoping on the counter-attack. It hasn't been working. They've turtled up too much. If the fourth could come in from Sajmoon, as it does, 16 seconds remain. It seems all but over for the All-Stars side in game one.
Absolutely does, and usually when I'm seeing a 4-1 scoreline in game number one, usually I can attribute that to maybe a lot of mistakes on the defensive end, but for All-Stars I really can't conjure up any sort of advice to them at the moment. Ascence seems to have really turned it up a gear since the last I saw this team compete. The likes of Led on that roster, Meaty and Simon, all very aggressive players when it comes to how they're spacing apart from one another and how they work in the offensive zones, and so far, has to be said, completely dominating in this first game.
Indeed it was, but I don't think All-Stars are out of it. We look at it with that 100% shooting accuracy. If that shot from 0 seconds, give it an extra 2 seconds on the clock. That's 200% shooting accuracy. Maybe just let them shoot more. If they keep finding shots, keep finding goals, they're going to get there eventually.
Well, that's what you can only hope if you're in All-Stars position, who, as you said, really didn't have too much of a threat in this game in terms of, well, how they're approaching their opposition. And, well, for All-Stars, they have a very difficult task ahead of them. And I think largely that's figuring out how they can escape their own backlines, as at the moment they're completely falling apart as a result of that electric offense that Ascence has to offer at the moment. As we get underway, and potentially the final game in this best-of-3 series, All-Stars need to figure something out now.
I can already trying to get it away, keep this offense going for Ascence Esports, as Ladino with the 50 infield could drop straight in. It's off the crossbar, it's awkward for Vesh, but does get the much needed read to bail them out of defense early on. Vesh, no double tap down of this one as Sajmoon does find the touch away. It's going to come off the ceiling. No one's going to be there other than Magma off the bat. Will try and keep it going for this All-Star side as Vesh pops it up in field. Can only go by himself. Has got boost work. Goes 50 on the one. Meaty there to deny though for Ascence.
And Keto's going to try and sustain this offense a little longer as Meaty has worked his way past one. Led and Meaty both going up for that one. Keto, an unfortunate misread. Could have ended up in disaster there, but still, this team in blue is good for the going. As Magma's going to loft one up high. Meaty finding a teammate in Simon off the ceiling there. Could have been one of the nicer plays we'd come to see tonight.
Vesh trying to pop it up. Still 0-0 deadlock currently after the first minute. Vesh still trying to drive it down. We see him so well going with these 50-50s with no boost, forcing it past one, trying to create an opening for a teammate. As double commit though does allow a shot from Vesh. Somehow it almost works out for the All-Stars and they keep the offense going with Magma off the corner looking for Keto. It's a great read from Magma off of the backboard, off of his own touch, but couldn't find the touch goal.
Yeah, and the all-important finish is what was needed there. And at the moment, it seems Ascence very much comfortable with the threats that All-Stars have had to offer them in the offense so far. Meaty space on the backboard to follow up his initial touch there. Unfortunately, contact was not met, and All-Stars, you can see they're getting a little bit more comfortable in terms of their extensions going forward. Not even afraid to throw two at the same time on many occasions so far.
It looks like a completely new All-Stars roster from what we've seen in game number one, but they already know they can't let Ascence have an even little peek at their net, otherwise goals will be flying through left, right and centre as Meaty's shot is denied by the post. Vesh trying to touch it out. Meaty there again to get it going for Ascence. Still a 0-0 game as we approach the halfway score in this game. Psycho, I mean, which way do you see it going?
Oh, it's hard to call, because so far, All-Stars, as you say, it looks like they've been transformed. It looks like as a roster, they're so much more confident pushing forwards. You know what, I think I'm going to be the optimist for a change and actually root for All-Stars to push one in as Magma reaching for that top right-hand corner. There's been very few opportunities in game number one, and that could have been a crucial way to get the ball rolling for them.
It should have been a crucial way to get the ball rolling for them. That shot destined towards the top right corner, but didn't go in. And Vesh's shot, well, Vesh's save was destined. However, Sajmoon denies the odds and just forces it past an empty net.
Yeah, and it's so unfortunate as Well, Keto, he was very much trusting of his teammate Vesh on the sidewall to make that difficult 50-50 in front of net, and no contact was found at all. Keto not willing to throw himself in the front lines and get a touch in just in case the worst did happen. And potentially that level of trust has caused the downfall of All Stars altogether, as a second is blown home by Lead.
Gone from bad to worse for the side in blue again. You wait for one burst and two come at once. 2 goals yet again. The scoreline for Ascence. They find themselves 2-0 up in game number 2. It could be the scoreline we see at the end of the series.
It'd be heartbreak as well for All Stars, as I don't think they've been able to show their true colours. But you have to say Ascence have really just turned up a gear. They've made, well, I've got to say, it's been an almost flawless performance so far. And a 2-0 scoreline in game number 2 would reflect that as well.
Minute 30 left. All Stars not over for them just yet. They need to find something on net, get that little bit of momentum, that little spark behind them, and it could work wonders for them as Dino's clear is sniped out of the way by Sidescrew, looking for a double tap, saved away from Magma, potentially off of the crossbar as well. But this is what this Ascent side can do. This is what they're capable of, and how close was that shot to going in?
It was really darn close, as another one's going to test the goal line, but knocked away pivotally at the last second. 1 minute left on the clock. Not sure we need to stress too much on that, as Keto, with one of the final potential opportunities of the game, cannot put that one away. It's going to make their life so much more difficult to work their way into this. A best of 3 is punishing. And All Stars so far, they've been exactly that, punished.
They haven't been creating the chances they would have liked. Ascents have been doing that, however, and that's why they find themselves 2-0 up, and All Stars don't find themselves 2-0 up, as Magma just doing something, trying to get a 50-50, but maybe not the play you would want when you find yourself 2-0 down with 20 seconds remaining. However, I'm going to read my words. Magma has pulled it from behind. 15 seconds remain in this game. All Stars need 1 to force overtime.
Only 1 goal left is all that's needed, and as much as you might have eaten your words, I think Magma did well to drag out 2 players just by slow playing in his own defensive half. He found himself an opportunity, but they need 1 more, as Keto, with a misflip and an overextension, has caused him to reset from the back corner. Vesh with a crucial demo to get 1 more opportunity on the boards. Magma and Vesh coming together mid-air. It's going to be met by a player in blue. It's the ball lofted high. Vesh tips it up. No boost in the tank. This one surely has to fall. It's going to be Ascence, which take their way through to the grand finals.
Indeed, they claim their spot in the finals in extreme fashion. 2-0 over the All-Stars. Dominating performance in game number 1. Not so much in game number 2, but they still come away with the victory. And man, that offense. Defense maybe not tested as much as they would like, but they're going to be happy with that. No shots on net means you're not going to be conceding any goals. But boy, that offense is scary.
It absolutely is. And for the winner of the opposing semi-finals, it's going to present potentially a new challenge as well. So just to reflect on what's going on the other side of the bracket, as that won't be streamed tonight. It's KEKW versus Playing Ducks, and Playing Ducks is certainly a roster that you'll all recognise in Maijo, Imo, and I believe Paul on that roster as well. And on the opposition end of that, KEKW, another very strong team in Sorius, Laurelie and Mala. We actually saw Laurelie and Mala last week as well, and they did throw up a very strong performance. But commiserations to the loser of that specific series in All Stars. They were fun to watch, but ultimately beaten by a better team tonight, maybe.
Well, maybe, but the better team is not decided yet. The best team in today's tournament will be decided in a little while after we have a short break, and we'll be joined with the winners of KEKW versus the other team which you just mentioned, and Ascence to the grand final. We'll see you after a short break.